All right, welcome into our weekly flow recap. This is going to be for the week of December 8th to December 12th. Kind of a newer format here. This is actually being live streamed for the flow recap. It's kind of a little pilot how we're doing this. It's a good week to do it because it's a very short flow recap. We only had three very strong, solid pieces of flow. Obviously, we had FOMC this week, so lighter volume for Monday, Tuesday, and then most of Wednesday. So very, very light flow. And if you are joining us for the first time, and I'll do this for anybody that's kind of watching the video too first time. Again, our tracked flow channels are flow alerts, ETF flow alerts, and your flow and charts. Your risky flow, earnings flow, long-term flow, not tracked. So this is everything this week is a stock. So we are just doing names. There's not going to be anything for the ETF name. So we're going to get started here. We're going to start with the GLD, the 1219-393 calls. So let's go back here to Monday and take a peek at them. So here's Monday, how it looked. We had 713,000 in premium. Average fill was 261 per contract. And let me just open this up again as well too. Can also see here on the 8th here, a lot of net call premium as well on the day. Prior two sessions, a lot more there, smaller there, and then obviously a little more there on the 10th, but we're focusing on the 8th here. So let's look at our raw flow and how that looked as well in real time. So we're coming down here again. You can see how that's set up here. That IV pops when it comes in. This is a repeated hit. This is, again, just essentially telling you that these contracts are coming in a very, very quick couple seconds or so. I don't know the actual technical breakdown off the top of my head, but they are coming in. It's repeatedly being hit. It's the very layman's term there. But again, that spot coming in at the ask here, a little wider bid ask spread, so you're seeing a little more, I'd say, urgency here trying to get in at the ask. IV stays at that 27 that entire time here, and we finish up here again at the ask. So that flow did not change at all. That IV stayed up. Flow continued to fill at the ask, and just kind of a macro element with this one too, knowing that there was more than likely going to be a rate cut. I kind of figured metals are going to move up, and they did. So again, looking at the 8th here, we had, again, it was 2,700 contracts against 1,500 open contracts. We know it's an opening trade just because that 2,700 contracts are greater than the open interest. We know it's an opening trade just based off math there. Can see a majority of that carried over there. So this one kind of just choppy here, and I'm doing the full range of the contracts. Doesn't mean you're going to exit at the top, but I just like to show that full move of the contracts. So when we're looking at that here, we kind of chopped that same day. We had a small move up that next day, kind of trading around that 311-ish, high twos, 311-ish or so. Then FOMC day, we kind of dropped here a little bit on the 10th. And then here is your rocket up after FOMC. So Thursday had a good move up there. Seeing some volume here on Thursday. And looks like a lot of those contracts did change hands there, because you don't see a big open interest update here on Friday today. And then here's your big spike here on today. So hitting a high of 961 there. So from that 261 up to that 961, that max return would have been 268.20%. Massive return. More than likely you're going to probably take some profits around that 5 or so. Just depends on if you have runners, all that stuff, but good move on that one. These did finish 1% in the money today, so great move on those. And we are going to look at NCLH next here. And then I'll do questions at the end too. I don't really want to kind of mix them together and make the video extra long, but so NCLH, the 12-19-18 put. This one again coming in here on the 9th, And this is why it's important to always adjust stops up, and you don't have to follow the whales completely, because you'll see exactly kind of why here. But we had 5,600 contracts, 21 cents a contract, 120K premium, good premium. Looking at the ninth, definitely an opening trade. Again, that 5,600 greater than 3,700, we know it's an opener. And coming back to the ninth, you could see some put premium there on the day as well. And let's look at the raw flow feed here. Pop this down. And you can see again, and a lot of my flow, this flow that's in the flow alerts and our tracked ETF flow, all that, it's very, very identical, where it is going to pretty much match everything with that IV at least going up, that spot price rising, so on. And you can see IV spikes when the repeated hits start here. Flow is filling at 21. We just follow this all the way up. Again, you see that IV just cleanly staying up. Spot price staying up as well there too. We look good there. And when we pop back here, I'm going to actually move this back to the 9th. So let's go back here to the 9th and take a peek at it. Let me pop this to the 1 day. So this one moved kind of quick, and knowing they're a little shorter term too, I kind of tell people look at the days to expiration on there. Usually shorter term, they're probably expecting a move quicker versus something that's 300 days out. This one running pretty quick here from that 21, hit 26 there. We just kind of chopped in the green there. We were up about 15% or so for most of the day. Then we popped up again a little bit more. And then we actually ended up hitting our high here on the 10th. So let me pop this to the 10th. You can see we hit our high kind of open there. 31 was the high on the day. So that was a 47.62% on those. And this one, let me pop this back to Friday. So we did get some volume here on the 10th. You can see about 2,200 contracts there. A lot of that did carry over. So this whale may have been short these puts, but we did get a pop there in the contracts. You just never fully know what they're doing. And it is interesting to me because that volume from the 9th, only about half of that carried over. So that is definitely kind of something to keep an eye on there as well too. But for the most part, I mean, this trade would be done now. I wouldn't even try to trail that now. Expire next week. So that was the NCLHs. Again, here's your entry. Ran up same day, hit the high here on the 10th. And if you're in these, more than likely you're probably going to have a stop on around that 27, 26. And when you come and hit that 24 that same day, probably going to get out there. I mean, I had a couple stops on there. I didn't actually swing any there. So again, max return 47.62% on those. And now we're going to look at the AA, the 116.45 calls. This was very nice textbook flow here, so I'm going to pop this back here. You look at the 10th here, massive spike in that net call premium there. Even on the 11th, we had some more, but again, focusing on the 10th here. Looking at the 10th, we had 10,000 contracts come in that first candle right away. You know it's an opening trade against 5,000. When we look at that flow feed, this was actually pretty textbook flow as well. So let's come back here and take a peek. We'll see if it lets us go back a page. It's not gonna, so 1 second here. We're gonna pop back out, pop back into the candle. Then we will do Q&A here after this. So again, you can see how that flow is coming in here. Very textbook. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I wish that spot kind of would have been at that ask that entire time, but nonetheless, that spot price rises there. It's a repeated hits ascending fill, just telling you again that spot price is rising when that flow is coming in. Your IV is rising that entire time, and you're coming in at the ask with your heavy size and your heavy premium, and this thing just absolutely blast off that same day, up all day on Thursday, and then hit the high today of 455. So from that 229 to 455, 98.69%. And I didn't say this at the beginning, but it was 10,000 contracts, 2.3 million. Very easy to kind of spot something like that, but very, very quiet week with FOMC. Hopefully next week will be a little better. And does anybody have any questions about the 3 flow alerts from the week? And thank you, Purple Stop Sign. I'm planning to do these Friday night or Saturday morning-ish, just so I like to recap it, and if people have questions about it, they can ask about it. But if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'll give everybody like a minute here. We will wrap up the week. A really good week, though. I mean, with how low the volume was at the beginning of the week and everything. So, doesn't look like anybody has questions, so I am going to hop off here. I'll get this posted, and I'll get our live stream from earlier posted as well, too. So, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.